The recipe I'm preparing today from Easy Breezy Florida Cooking is Flamingo Pink Lime Pie. This is my family's all-time favorite pie. There's a lot of pies they love, but this one is their favorite, and it's one of my favorites too because it's so simple to make. And I love key lime pie. So this is kind of a theme along the key lime pie. But to start, there's two sections to this pie. There's the pie crust and then the filling. So I'm going to do the pie crust first. You start with 1½ cups of graham cracker crumbs. So if you want to use graham crackers and crush them up yourself, crush them up until you have 1½ cups. Or if you want to, you can use a pre-made graham cracker pie crust that you can buy in the grocery store, and that makes it go even quicker. But even if you do them yourself, it's still a very quick and easy recipe. So for the crust, if you're going to make it yourself, to the 1½ cups of crumbs, the graham cracker crumbs, you just stir in 1/4 cup of melted butter. When you first put it in the bowl and you start mixing the butter with the crumbs, it might look like, well, that's not going to be enough butter to cover all those crumbs because sections of it appear very, very dry. But the moist chunks that are in here, as you mix them with the dry breadcrumbs, you're going to end up with a nice, even coating of butter over the crumbs. And this is really all there is to making your own graham cracker crumb crust. So if you've got a box of graham crackers in there and you want to make a crumb crust, just mix up or grind up about 1½ cups, and then to that add 1/4 cup of butter. And then the next step that I love that's so easy about this is you just put these crumbs with the butter in the, just put them in the middle of a pie crust, or in the middle of a pie pan to make your pie crust. But to make it even, because when you start working with it and you try to get the crumbs up the sides and all, it's going to be a little more difficult to do if you try to do it by hand. So what I do is take another pie plate that's a little smaller than the one I'm using for the base of my pie or to hold my pie. And then you take that second crust and you put it in on top, or the second pie pan, and put it on top of the crust. And then when you pull it out, voila! Here you have your pie crust. The next step is the filling. Very quick, very easy. For the filling, it's 1 3-ounce package of cream cheese at room temperature. And the reason it's at room temperature is it makes it a lot easier to blend when you add the other ingredients. Now the other ingredients I'm going to be adding is 1 egg, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, but I also need to add the star of the show, lime juice. Before I start mixing these together, though, I wanted to tell you a little bit about key limes and Persian limes. Now this recipe is the Flamingo Pink Lime Pie. Now if you are using the recipe that's in the cookbook, it calls for key limes. But you can use Persian limes as well. And as you see here, a Persian lime is much bigger than a key lime, but it takes about 3 key limes to make 1 Persian lime. So for this pie, you would need 6 Persian limes or 18 key limes. And it takes a while, if you're using key limes, to juice up enough juice for the pie. But what you need to do is take your key limes, and you could even put them in the microwave for like 5 seconds because the heat will help the limes release their juice. And I love to use this lime juicer. It just goes by so much quicker. When you're doing key limes, you want to make sure you put a strainer over the cup if you're going to pour this directly into your pie filling, because there's seeds in here and the holes in the juicer. It's really meant for a Persian lime, and so you're going to end up getting, you might end up getting some seeds in there. But I already have about 1/2 cup of lime juice in here, and that's all I need for this recipe. So I am going to mix together all my ingredients and pour them in the pie shell. First of all, I'm just going to whip together the cream cheese, and this only takes a couple of minutes to whip together the cream cheese and get it nice and creamy and with no lumps in it, because if you have lumps in the cream cheese, you're going to have lumps, you'll see it in your pie, in your pink lime pie. So 3 ounces of cream cheese. To that you add 1 egg, the can of sweetened condensed milk. This is just so easy because it has so few ingredients. As a matter of fact, my niece Hannah is learning to cook, and she made this pie and said it was easy, sent me a picture of it, and it was wonderful. So, it's very, very easy to make. I appreciate the fact that my niece made one and showed it to me, so I know you can do it too. My best friend Lisa makes the pie for her friends because it's so simple. And Lisa says she doesn't really cook, so this is one of those pies that you can make if you're not wanting to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Now, at this step, when you've added the ingredients, you got to make sure you get the cream cheese soft and mixed, and then mix in the remaining ingredients. Because the last step in this is what makes it pink, or Flamingo Pink Lime Pie. All I've done is I'm adding food coloring to it. 4 or 5 drops, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason I created this recipe is I love key lime pie. And key lime pie, it's not really green if you have authentic key lime pie. It's more of a yellowish green, the color of the pie. And I thought a pink pie would be awfully pretty. And so for this recipe, I use a whole egg. I use the egg white and the egg yolk. And in most key lime pies, it's just the egg yolk. And it helps give it that nice yellow-green color of a key lime pie. So this one is a Flamingo Pink Lime Pie. So I don't want to offend all the conks in Key West and everyone that knows what an authentic key lime pie is by making mine pink. But this one's so pretty and so much fun. And it kind of surprises people when they take a bite and realize it's a lime pie. And this is really, the hardest part's over. Everything in here is blended together nicely. And then the final step, pour it into the graham cracker crumb crust. Oh, this just looks beautiful here. Now, you might want to scrape out and get every bit of that delicious filling in there. And then this goes into a 325-degree oven for about 15 minutes. You put it in the oven for 15 minutes. When you take it out, you need to put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. And then the pie is set and ready to go. So this beautiful little pie is ready for the oven. And I have one ready to show you. This, I baked it for 15 minutes, and then I refrigerated it for about 2 hours. The nice thing about the Flamingo Pink Lime Pie is that you can store it in the refrigerator, or you can put it in the freezer. You can freeze it several weeks, so if you wanted to make 2 at one time, you could do that. Stick one in the freezer, and then you'll have it ready for your next party, event, or family reunion. Flamingo Pink Lime Pie from Easy Breezy Florida Cooking.